It's been a rough few weeks at Ibrox, and now, a familiar name is stepping forward to say exactly what many Rangers fans have been thinking. Connor Cody, the experienced English defender who was once a transfer target for the club, didn't hold back in a fiery and brutally honest assessment of the chaos currently surrounding Rangers. His words come at a time when the club finds itself in crisis mode, sitting dangerously low in the league table, with questions flying from every direction, from supporters, pundits, and even within the dressing room. Now at Wrexham after a stint at Leicester, Cody has no direct ties to the club anymore, but his insight carries weight. He's played at the top level, captained sides under intense scrutiny, and more importantly, he understands what it takes to survive and thrive at a big football institution. And from the outside looking in, what he sees at Rangers deeply concerns him. In his own words, some of the players who arrived at Ibrox this summer simply don't seem to understand the size of the club they've walked into. According to Cody, they came with the mindset that they'd have time to build, to adapt slowly, to grow into their roles. But at Rangers, time is a luxury no one gets. You're expected to win from the very first whistle, and anything less than that is met with pressure, protest, and at times, outright fury. Rangers have stumbled badly out of the gate. One win in their first 7 league matches. A fanbase growing increasingly vocal. And now, a managerial change after Russell Martin's dismissal. For Cody, the results aren't just about tactics or formations. The problem runs deeper than the pitch. It's about identity. It's about culture. It's about a club with a glorious past being run by people and played for by athletes who might not fully grasp what it means to wear that blue shirt. From Cody's perspective, Rangers isn't just another club. It's a way of life for thousands upon thousands of people across Glasgow and beyond. These fans breathe it, live it, obsess over it. And that expectation creates an atmosphere that's entirely different from most football environments. At Ibrox, every draw feels like a defeat, and every defeat feels like a disaster. There's no such thing as easing into the job. You either deliver results or face the consequences, as Martin found out the hard way. What's even more damning in Cody's comments is how he highlights the disconnect between the club's leadership and the reality on the ground. Ownership groups, and even some players may have come in thinking they'd be given space to implement a long-term vision. But Rangers doesn't operate on 5-year plans. The demand is instant success. And unless everyone, from the boardroom to the bench, buys into that pressure, the cycle of failure will just keep repeating itself. Cody referenced the need for a figure like Jose Mourinho, not necessarily the man himself, but someone with that same relentless winning mentality. A manager who doesn't talk about potential or progression, just winning. Because that's what Rangers supporters want. That's what they expect. And more importantly, that's what they deserve. He's also right about the dangers of transition at a club like Rangers. Other teams might be able to hide behind the word rebuild, but in Glasgow, that word doesn't exist. There is no patience for growing pains. It's about results, silverware, and bragging rights, every single week. And for any player arriving from England or elsewhere who doesn't understand that, the reality check will be brutal. The timing of Cody's comments is no coincidence. They come in the wake of a disastrous start to the season, with Rangers now languishing in 8th place, a position completely unacceptable for a club of this size. And while Russell Martin's departure might offer a clean slate, it also adds even more urgency. Whoever comes in next won't have time to find their footing. The job will be about winning immediately or risk becoming the 5th manager in 4 years to be shown the door. The frustration among fans is already boiling over, and Cody's honesty gives a voice to many of their concerns. His words are direct, but they're not malicious. They're born out of a respect for the club and an understanding of the standards that should be upheld. Rangers, in his view, is not just another team where you show up, train hard, and hope for the best. It's a footballing institution where every point matters and every match feels like a cup final. And this season has shown how far the current group is from meeting those expectations. When Cody says they live and breathe Rangers, he's not exaggerating. The club's identity is tied to its history, its rivalries, and its relentless pursuit of excellence. And if players or staff come in without fully embracing that, then the gap between performance and expectation becomes a chasm. What we're seeing now isn't just a team underperforming. It's a club struggling to rediscover its soul. That might sound dramatic, but ask any Rangers supporter and they'll tell you it's the truth. The fight on the pitch is only part of the battle. The bigger war is about standards, about culture, and about protecting the legacy of a club that's won more trophies than almost any other in world football. Cody's take forces a tough conversation, not just about tactics or players, but about what Rangers represents in the modern game. Is the current setup capable of carrying the weight of that history? Or are we seeing a club that's losing touch with the very identity that once made it feared and respected? There's still time to fix things, but not much. The pressure will only intensify. And with Celtic continuing to dominate domestically, Rangers can't afford another misstep. That means getting the next managerial appointment absolutely right. That means demanding more from every single player who wears the badge. And that means creating a culture where excuses don't exist, only results do. Connor Cody might be on the outside now, but his words cut through the noise. They reflect what many have felt for weeks, that something is fundamentally broken at Rangers. And if the people inside the club don't wake up to that reality soon, the gap between where Rangers are and where they should be will only grow wider. While Connor Cody's honest words have sparked plenty of debate, the reality on the ground is even more pressing. Rangers are now officially back on the managerial market, just a few months after putting their faith in Russell Martin, a decision that now looks like a complete miscalculation. The timing of the sacking might feel sudden, but in truth, it had been coming. One win from 7 league games, fans turning in frustration, banners in the stands, and no visible improvement in performances. The writing was on the wall, and the club's hierarchy had little choice but to act. And now, the attention shifts once again to who comes next. One name already emerging is former Netherlands international Mark van Bommel. For those who follow European football closely, Van Bommel's CV carries real weight. Most recently, he led Royal Antwerp to a historic treble in Belgium, winning the league title, the Belgian Cup, and the Super Cup all in the same season. That was no fluke either. Antwerp hadn't lifted the league since 1957. What Van Bommel achieved there was nothing short of transformational, and it didn't go unnoticed. He was even named Belgium's Coach of the Year for that campaign, a recognition not just of the trophies he brought in, but the style, discipline, and consistency he managed to instill in a squad that wasn't exactly bursting with star power. Prior to that, he cut his teeth in the Eredivisie with PSV Eindhoven before a spell in the Bundesliga with Wolfsburg. While not every chapter of his managerial journey has been smooth, his time in Belgium restored a lot of faith in his methods. At 48, Van Bommel is in that sweet spot of having enough experience to command authority, but still young and ambitious enough to bring fresh energy to a squad in desperate need of direction. According to reports, he was actually on the radar during the summer before Rangers made the call to go with Martin. That prior contact might now give him a head start, especially with the club needing to move quickly. Because make no mistake, Rangers are in a precarious position, and this next managerial appointment cannot be another experiment. It needs to be the right man, with the right mentality, and the right plan to drag this team out of the current mess. And more importantly, someone who can bring instant results. There's no appetite for a slow build, no patience for transition, and certainly no time for a project manager. This is about winning games now, closing the gap domestically, and restoring pride in Europe. The Van Bommel link ticks several boxes. He knows how to handle pressure, having played and coached at the highest levels. He's no stranger to intense fan bases, and he understands what it means to win where expectations are sky high. But the question remains, does he see Rangers as the right next step? And can the board convince him that the structure and backing are in place for success? One of the biggest challenges for whoever comes in will be the dressing room itself. As Cody pointed out, there's a serious disconnect between some of the summer signings and the reality of playing for Rangers. The new manager will need to reset the tone quickly. That means identifying which players are truly up for the fight and which ones are passengers. There's no room for passengers at Ibrox, not when every drop point feels like a hammer blow. What's made this situation even more difficult is the recent instability at the top. Since Steven Gerrard's departure in 2021, Rangers have gone through 4 different permanent managers. That kind of turnover is never healthy, and it filters down into the squad. Players stop believing in long-term vision, fans lose trust in the process, and the club starts to drift further away from where it needs to be. Van Bommel, or whoever takes the reins, will be walking into a high-pressure job, but also a massive opportunity. This is still one of the biggest clubs in Britain, with a rich history, a massive global following, and a fan base that's crying out for leadership. The foundations are there, but they need a strong hand to rebuild confidence and turn potential into performance. The next few weeks are crucial. With the league campaign already off to a dreadful start, Rangers can't afford to fall any further behind. Celtic are showing no signs of slowing down, and every dropped point now could prove costly come the end of the season. But it's not just about domestic honors. There's pride at stake here. Rangers fans demand more, and they're right to do so. The supporters have shown time and time again that they'll back the team with everything they have, but that passion comes with a demand for accountability. They want players who fight for the badge, a manager who understands the weight of the job, and a board that's willing to make bold decisions when it counts. That's the standard at Ibrox. Always has been. This isn't about knee-jerk reactions or media pressure. This is about recognizing that the current setup was not working and making the tough calls to correct it. Russell Martin may have had good intentions, but good intentions don't win football matches. The harsh truth is that Rangers need results, urgently. Now, all eyes turn to the boardroom once again. The clock is ticking. The fans are restless, and the players are still trying to find their feet. The next manager has to be someone who brings clarity, strength, and above all, a winning mentality. Whether that's Van Bommel or someone else, what matters most is that the club gets this decision right, because they might not get another chance this season. Rangers are a club built on winning. That identity has to be restored, and it starts with leadership. The squad needs belief. The fans need hope. And the whole organization needs to come together under a manager who understands that at Rangers, success is not a dream, it's a demand. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. The corridors of Ibrox are buzzing tonight after what insiders are calling a seismic move in Scottish football. Rumors swirling around the city suggest that Rangers have pulled off a transfer coup, securing striker Kevin Nisbet in a deal that could change the complexion of the Premiership this season. The whispers started early this afternoon, but by evening, sources close to the club hinted that the deal was done and dusted, sending fans into an absolute frenzy. Nisbet, who has dazzled in front of goal at previous clubs, is said to have agreed personal terms swiftly, and those in the know claim he is eager to make an immediate impact at Ibrox. The striker's arrival is being touted as a masterstroke by the Rangers hierarchy, who reportedly believe he could be the key to breaking through the increasingly tight defenses of their rivals. If the rumors are true, supporters can expect a player with pace, instinct, and a knack for scoring in crucial moments to step straight into Giovanni Van Bronckhorst's plans. Social media exploded as news of the potential signing leaked. Fans have been speculating nonstop, with some suggesting Nisbet's presence could push Rangers even closer to the title, while others wonder how his style will gel with the current attacking setup. The transfer, still officially unconfirmed, has left rival clubs on edge. Could this be the start of a summer spending spree at Ibrox, or just a singular, decisive stroke of genius? Sources familiar with the situation hint that negotiations were swift, almost secretive, pointing to a deal brokered with the kind of efficiency that has become synonymous with Rangers' off-field operations. Insiders claim that Nisbet himself was excited beyond belief at the prospect of pulling on the famous blue shirt, and that talks between him, his representatives, and the club moved at lightning speed once initial interest was declared. Of course, until an official announcement lands, the story remains in the realm of speculation. But the sheer intensity of the chatter, coupled with the usually tight-lipped nature of Ibrox, makes this feel far too convincing to dismiss. If Rangers have indeed landed Kevin Nisbet, the coming months could be electrifying, not just for the light blues, but for the whole of Scottish football. The rumor mills are spinning, fans are dreaming, and the Premiership may never be the same again. Greetings, fans. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.